This is Foghorn with another installment of Flight School Academics for this, the 7th of June, 2955 or 2025. You're stuck in the past. This is a presentation as a part of an ongoing series of academics for the members of the Aurora Republic, the premier role-playing organization and Star Citizen. If you're new to the Aurora Republic or visiting us for the very first time, let me start by saying welcome. Glad to have you with us. Would love to hear from you if you're interested in hearing more from us. The Lawful Good organization focused on role-play exploration and social interaction are currently active in recruiting on Spectrum and Discord. Tonight we are talking about the last in our basic aviation series about flip charts, flight information publications, as are provided to us in Star Citizen for all things Star Citizen from the folks at Delta Consulting. Okay, so this will be very quick, and then we'll get into the verse and go play a bit. So these flight information publications are basically ways you can get aviation related information about a destination that you're going to before you get there. So you actually do a little chart study and go into a new an area that you are not familiar with for the first time with some pre-knowledge. There are basically 4 different chart types. You got landing zone charts, which are all about the places that you're going to land. So they exist for basically all the cities, all the space stations, and all of the lesser outposts and that sort of thing everywhere out there that are published. The big cities also, if they have no-fly zones, they'll also have no-fly zone charts, so you know where those are and where the tops of them are and that sort of stuff. The 4 big cities in Stanton have what's called terminal area charts, which are procedural approaches and departures from that city where you can use to deconflict and for efficiency of navigational routing. And then, of course, instrument approach procedures for shooting an instrument approach into those facilities if the weather precludes being able to do a normal VFR, visual flight rules kind of operation. All right, so there is an indexing system. It'll show you where that is on each chart, where that lives, so that you can know whether or not what you have is the most current. If you keep track of Delta Consulting's website, where they keep these published, they are a community-produced item, completely 100% open source, free, just like I said, made by the community. So the system basically starts with chart type, the 3-digit or 3 alpha numeric for chart type, dash what system ID, 4-digit system ID, and then the facility ID, planet, moon, and then the version. And if there is more than one page, then it'll come after the last dash. So when you look, let me grab my rusty laser pointer here. Okay, so if when you are looking for versioning, the version number is this last one. It'll always be in 2 digits, so it'll have a leading 0 if it's less than 10. Obviously, and then if there is multiple pages, like some of these bigger cities have 2 pages for their a landing zone chart or their terminal area chart, then it'll have a -1 and a -2, for example. So this is when you go glance at Delta Consulting's website really quick to see if your charts are all up to date. This is the number you would look for and see if you have 05, then you'd be hoping to see 05 on their library, so that you got the most up-to-date one. Okay, facility identifiers. So there is a system to these identifiers, so you can actually know what kind of a facility you're going into before you actually even look, just by the way the identifier is. So if it's 3 letters, then it's one of the major landing zones. So obviously BBG for New Babbage, LOR for Lorville, ORI for August Unlow at Orison, and RIK for Riker Memorial at Area 18 there in Stanton. The Pyro charts have just been published. I have not had time to enter them into our database, though I have downloaded the zip file. So Pyro is now available as well. If it is 2 digits and a letter, then that is going to be one of the LEO stations, the ones that are orbiting right over top of a planet, right over top of the major landing zone. And then all the rest will have a function of numbers, letters, depending on where they're going to. So, for example, the first digit is the planet, the number of planet in the system. So if it starts with a 2, then that would obviously be Crusader for Stanton 2A. If you were looking at flip charts for the Stanton system specifically, that would be Crusader is planet 2, so it starts with a 2. If it's on Cellin, that's 2A for the moon, and then you'd have an alphanumeric designator for the end for which actual facility it is. Sometimes they try to make some sort of a logical sense if they can, but sometimes you might have similarly named like one Hotel Echo is HDMS Edmund, so one Sierra Sierra is HDSF Sherman. Both of those are on Stanton. The star systems all have 4 or 3 digit identifiers. They're actually 3 digit identifiers for the system, and the leading alphabet is the who has claimed the system. So pretty much everything you're going to be running around in the UEE is going to start with a U, and you can edit off that first leading digit, if you will. So you could see STA for the Stanton system or U for UEE. USTA all means the same thing. So you may see those when they're written out as like, so for Seraphim Station, you could see that as USTA 22 Sierra or at just STA 22 Sierra when people are shorthanding this sort of a thing. Pyro is unclaimed, therefore unclaimed is Z. So developings are Ds, and then of course, I'm sure things like Xi'an and Banu systems will start with X and B, so X-ray and Bravo for those systems. So right now, based on the ones that we know we're getting in the near future, the 5 starting systems of Stanton, Pyro, Castra, Nix, and Terra, we should see either U's or Z's as the leading digit there. So Pyro's, because it's unclaimed, is ZPYR, so Zulu Papa Yankee Romeo. All right, on one of the things we'll be talking about is the aircraft categories. They're basically used to be trying to follow modern day aviation of Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Echo based on their size and approach speeds. But they've further been refined back into just using the same category of size, so either small, medium, large, extra large, or capital. And that's based on the landing pad size that they need to be able to put that ship down on it. So those are your Spacecraft categories, just like they are in the game 9. It's super simple to make it as streamlined as possible. All right, so here's an example of Calhoun Pass, A shelter, one of our favorite places to go hang out on Microtech. Just to kind of give you do a little orientation of how the landing zone charts are all set up. So the top block there, you'll have the common name identifier. Again, I'm going to grab my laser pointer here. You're going to have the common name identifier and the 3-digit code, aviation code for the location. So Calhoun Pass, Age Shelter, 4 Papa 1, and then of course the common name of where planet, or I should say what celestial body and system it's set on. So in this case, Microtech and Stanton. In that top block, you'll see a top of atmosphere number followed by a quantum travel altitude. So that's telling you that you should be getting pitch ladders and altitude readout from the surface all the way up to 100,000 meter altitude, and you should be able to activate the quantum drive and quantum out of the atmosphere once you are past 11,000 meters of altitude. The next little block shows the closest OM to the location, the lat long on the surface of the ground, what grav compared to Earth gravity. So grav 1 means it's equal, it's 1-to-1 equal to Earth. You'll see a temperature. The temperatures thing to understand about how the temperature is listed is that a dash is not a minus sign. When they want to say negative, they put an M in front of it. So M90-13 means minus 90 to positive 13. The dash is just only means a range, and that's specifically only for the temperature. So, and that is actually consistent with how aviation weather is communicated in text in modern day. It'll tell you if the atmosphere is breathable with a yes and a yes plus, meaning both. I believe the yes means it is chemically breathable, and the plus means and it has enough atmospheric pressure for you to be able to withstand it. Similar, for example, the atmosphere on Lyria is mostly an oxygen atmosphere, which means it would be breathable by human beings, but it is only 7/100ths of Earth's atmospheric pressure. So it's literally 0.07% of the pressure. So it's super thin, which means you can't breathe without a helmet, not because it's poisonous, but because there's very little of it. Next block, I believe, is all the facility information and landing zone notes. This is all just basically in standard English prose. So you can read what's around there, what the hazards and warnings are, and what facility services, how many landing pads, all that kind of stuff is there. The next block down gives you some more facilities information. It starts with landing pads, hangars and or docking ports and or exterior landing pads that are available there and in what categories. It'll actually list them out. It'll say 2DP for docking ports, 6 large, for hangars and all that sort of stuff, et cetera, et cetera. The elevation, if it is a ground-based thing, it'll give you the elevation. It'll tell you whether there's any air traffic control frequency or air traffic control agency there that you can call, that you need to call for landing clearance. And if there isn't one, then it'll list that there too. It'll tell you if there's an armistice and what services they have as far as fueling, repairing, and rearming. The next big block there is a black and white diagram of the landing area specifically. It is to scale with each other. So anything that has like this V shape means that's some sort of an obstruction. If it has a dot in it, it means it's a man-made obstruction. So think things like towers, like radio towers, radio aerials. If it does not have the dot, then it means that it is a natural terrain obstruction. So like this double V right there just means this is some sort of a mountain, and the number underneath it will be no kidding what your altimeter will read when you're touching the very top of it. These that are down here with the dot is the actual location of that obstruction on the map. And again, they will have the readouts of what your altimeter will read if you just exactly touch the top of that. So in the corner, you'll have what's called a min safe altitude, and it'll tell you out to what range, 10 kilometers. So in 10 kilometers, if you stay 1,602 meters on your altimeter, then you will be above anything that any obstruction, terrain or man-made, out to 10 kilometers from Calhoun Pass. The little postage stamp in the upper corner will show you which direction is north and which direction is that nearest OM to that, to include a heading, a distance, and a pitch angle. So you should see OM5 should be on a heading of 006, where it should be 611 kilometers away, and it should be about 35 degrees nose up on your pitch ladders if you're sitting right over the top. Yeah, go ahead.
Addendum. because your slides are a little bit out of date. First of all, the current version is for Calhoun Pass is version 10. As of that version, changes are that on the compass rose there in the top right corner, it gives you directional arrows for multiple OMs.
Okay, cool.
And in the top left, at the top of the chart, it tells you instead of having that icon around the 5, it says OM5. And the other thing I was going to add is that your minimum safe distance out to 10 clicks they include a 200-meter buffer. So there's no, in this case, with it being 1602, there won't be anything higher than 1400 or 1400 meters out to 10 clicks.
Yes. 100% true. All of that. Okay. And then last thing is right down at the bottom is that chart index that I showed you. So this is a landing zone chart on UEE system, STA Stanton, Microtech, 4.1, which is the 3-digit designator for Calhoun Pass. And the version number for this chart is 08, which was just brought up is actually out of date. So similar, you can have these same things for the space stations. You'll notice that they don't have, because they're floating in space, obviously, the landing zone region of the chart is a depiction of the station from top down. It may do multiple looks if perhaps the station is stacked, like it is in this case with Port Trussler, where the hangars and landing pads are actually beneath this center ring from the way we're looking at. So you have this disk where the docking ports and the big large hangars are all nested, and then down underneath you'll have this other set of medium small hangars and the small and medium landing pads. And that will obviously, if it does an inset like this, it'll give a small note explaining where this inset diagram is compared to the bigger diagram. Other than that, pretty much the rest of the information remains similarly laid out. Terminal area charts are different from landing zone charts, as they are concerned with procedural approaches and departures. Now, 99% of the time here in Star Citizen, when you're taking off or landing, we're just doing what's called a diverse departure or a diverse approach, which means you look out the window and you see and avoid other air traffic. But if you wanted to actually fly a more instrumented approach, whether you're being forced to by weather or whether you just wanted to do it for your own skills, that sort of stuff, then this is where you would actually start. It shows the different various starting points for this terminal approach. The common ones, the dark arrows will be the approaches coming in. The gray arrows will be the departures going out, and you'll notice how they're procedurally deconflicted from each other. They each have a different name or arrival. So as you can see, this example for New Babbage, you have the downtown arrival. If you're coming in from OM4, you're doing the rink arrival. If you're coming in from OM5, and you're doing the peaks arrival if you're coming in from Port Trussler, and it gives you the data along those arrows is the altitude, distance, and pitch angle that the quantum spline jump from that OM down will drop you off at. So if you come in from OM5, you spline jump down to New Babbage. When it drops you out of the spline jump and gives you control of your spacecraft back, you would be at about 11,100 meters. You should be 24 and a half clicks from the nav marker, and the nav marker should be 25 degrees nose low on your pitch ladder. And that's way, and as you can see, that's all similar. This graphical depiction is also written out in prose, so you can read all the way through it, and pay particular attention to the actual navigational points that are down there within the chart there. So like they will always be five alphanumerics without the numerics. So like Aspire is obviously the Aspire Grand. Tracks is where the monorail or the maglev tracks, where it splits and makes the little Y. That's point tracks. So if there's ever a point that the ATC for this place gets sophisticated enough to be able to talk, then for the entire approach, instead of just simply clearing you to land or clearing you to take off, then this would be ways for you to communicate where you are in relative to the point. And those are the points that these arrivals and or departures, depending on which, are routed to. So all of these are basically, all three of these arrivals are routed to the Aspire nav point, and then you turn right over top of the Aspire Grand, proceed to tracks, proceed into land. The Rink arrival has a cutoff where once you come out of quantum travel, you can just go direct tracks, and all of that, like I said, is written out in prose in that block down below. You have min safe altitudes similarly. This one has two different altitudes. One that's for safety of flight, 4,500 within 10 kilometers, and it also puts puts in down at the bottom a not a ceiling or not a min safe altitude, but hey, this is where the tops of these no-fly zones are. If you have no-fly zones, we'll put in that information, and then you get a little quick postage stamp of the landing zone itself. You're not really intended to go in and be able to pick out where you can land as far as where the different hangars are from this one. That's what you actually go to the landing chart for. But if you come over to the second page, then you can see where it gives a blow up of that landing zone area, so you can have a little bit better SA, and then you should have similar information there. For a no-fly zone chart, such as that one around New Babbage, because it has so many little cut-up no-fly spots down low, that's charted out there, and the number in the corner of each of the little squares is the top of that, the top of that no-fly zone area. You'll notice that even within these no-fly zones, there are obstructions that do stick up out of the top of the no-fly zone. So you can actually fly down in amongst these big, all of these obstructions are pretty much buildings, or there are even antennas that are on top of buildings, so you might be flying around this building. The very top of it is 1863 on your altimeter. The no-fly zone actually doesn't start until all the way down at 920 on your altimeter. So be aware of that. Don't think that the no-fly zone is going to save you from being able to hit an obstruction, because these obstructions can stick out the top of them. The no-fly zones, if you do actually fly down into them, your autopilot will take over and turn you out, up, and away until you're out of the no-fly zone, and then it'll hand your jet back over to you. The landing zone chart can be, if it's a very busy area with a lot of stuff, can be multiple pages like you see now. It's laid out. This was the one for New Babbage, and you can see how it's laid out similarly to the other ones that I showed you. It has all the same things. It might have certain insets put in if that can better explain where, say, hangars are. So because the small hangars are all horizontals on the front edge of New Babbage, they gave you an inset for that. So you can see that, okay, hangars 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and all of their landing pad elevations are 1032 on the clock. And then you can see the various towers, and they even will show the numbering system where you're going. So you can talk with your friends and go, hey, they've got me landing over in 10, hangar 10, that sort of stuff. All right. And if there is an alternate place, such as New Babbage has the commons, then they will also provide a landing zone chart for that as well. All right. Any questions? Are these things absolutely necessary? No. Are they a great role play? Yes. Are they a great way to have some good intel going into someplace you've never been before? Absolutely. So that concludes my verbiage. Are there any other questions?
Not a question, but another addendum for you that in the most recent version of these charts, they've included 2 entire new categories of charts. One is a settlement and CDF chart supplement that has information for ground operations for, I'm not going to say everything, but for a vast number of um, ground points of interest. There's also another supplement that is general structures that's got information about, for instance, distribution centers, the Hathor laser orbital, comm arrays, etc.
Delta Consulting and Murphy Exploration Group are close partners, and they partner in both in the creation and production and updating every patch of these flight information publications, and and Murphy Exploration Group actually provides additional products that I would call more intel based products and less flight information publications. So there's a whole bunch more that I could show and talk about here, but I don't really count them as flight information publications because, like I said, they're more intel products or surveying products or just general navigational. They're really more planetary survey products in a lot of those cases. Everything you said is 100% true as far as like and very useful if you're going into a place. I'm not sure. I'd have to actually look at them because I haven't had time to really dig into this over the last 6 months with me moving and all that kind of stuff. To see which ones are actually being produced in the flight information publication sort of format. So I decided in my prep this morning not to include them until I can have a little bit more time to see what's actually I would consider a flight information publication, which is pretty much just navigational based, not really for tactical operations. Like I said, Murphy Exploration Group does actually provide some other stuff. They actually have like on all of the, what you would call it, like unlawful places throughout the Stanton system, they actually have produced intelligence, like an intelligence slide, with like aerial photos and information for all of those things, which are done really well. And I have those packaged up. One of the things that I've been working on slowly over time is a GUI interface, basically browser-based GUI interface that will bring both the flight information publications and all of those intel sources, so that folks, if they have like a secondary computer or if they got multiple monitors and all, how if they have a secondary place that they can open up and look in information, to be able to click in there, and it basically an electronic flight bag, if you're familiar with those, where they can call up any of these flip hubs and all that stuff. That's still under development. Obviously, it's had to take a pause while I moved. But now that I've kind of got my feet under me again, I'm going to be pouring a lot more attention into getting some of these tools finished and out to everybody so that they can use them. And I actually do know the guys from Delta Consulting and have talked with them a couple of times. We even talked about us maybe doing some sponsorship with them, which is basically means that if we can do a little sponsorship with them, we can maybe make some suggestions on something like on to help them. The guy who's been producing these flip hubs, he's an air traffic controller, military air traffic controller by trade, or at least he was in a previous life. So yeah, with a guy like that, and then a guy like me, military pilot, we can probably really get these things tight. But what I want for us tool is to be able to just delve right into their database directly, so I don't have to update all of the charts by hand every time a new patch comes out. Because automation is wonderful, because I don't have that kind of time. No, I don't think anybody does. However, we're going to have to come to a consensus with how they for their data structures. But that's a whole nother thing, because between patch to patch, they kind of keep changing how they title things. So it's hard to build automation on a moving target. But we will work that in the future, just so you guys kind of have a little essay as to some of the things that are going on behind the scenes. Any other questions? All righty. Go play. All right. That wraps up this installment of Academics with Foghorn. Hope you found it interesting and helpful. If you have any questions I didn't answer, please feel free to contact me via email, Discord, Spectrum, or of course, comment section below. If you're watching this later, I'll answer to the best of my ability and as quickly as I see it. Please hit those follow and subscribe buttons, as we do appreciate all of those, and comment your comments in the comments. You can find out more information about the Aurora Republic at our bespoke website, aurorarepublic.space, and of course at the less bespoke robertspaceindustries.com/org/Aurora Rep. See you next time. Foghorn signing off, wishing a very pleasant remainder of your morning, afternoon, or evening. Thank you so very much for watching.